Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest edition of Wos Speaks. Of course, I'm your host, Big Wos, aka Wosny Lambre, joined as always by my dog, producer John Gervais, keeping the trains running on time on the ones and threes. Uh, Shouts to everybody watching live on YouTube. Shouts to everybody listening. They whip, listening while they iron their clothes. You know what I mean? Fold their laundry, empty out the dishwasher. At least that's what I do. That's what I'm usually doing when I'm listening to podcasts. I don't know about you guys. Um, man, another week, another ridiculous US foreign policy towards a foreign adversary. Obviously, it's the situation between the US plus our proxy Israel and our quote unquote sworn enemy Iran. Right now, Israel and Iran are basically trading blow for blow with each other. Trump has basically issued an ultimatum to the Iranians saying that they need total and utter surrender or else, which there's so much to unpack here, just in terms of how they're trying to sell this war to the American people. The first thing that you guys need to understand is when they say Iran can't have nuclear weapons, make no mistake, they don't have nuclear weapons. They aren't actively pursuing it, meaning they're not actively building nuclear weapons. And per a universal agreement from the intelligence community, as of March of this year, which is only what, 3 months ago, Tulsi Gabbard, right? National Intelligence Agency head, the head appointed by Trump under oath in Congress, said all the intelligence we've gathered has told us that Iran is not pursuing a nuclear weapon. And look, I'm not a fucking physicist. I'm not going to get into the difference between domestic use and military use for nuclear energy. But like, yeah, they have a nuclear program because they need to give energy to their population, but they're not pursuing a weapon. And she said, and the most important thing she said, one, they're not pursuing it. Okay, cool. And two, even if they were, it'd take them about at least 3 years to develop one if they started the day she said that. That's important because the way the president and oh my God, fucking Benjamin Netanyahu, bro, his address, obviously he does it in English because he wants to address an American audience. Where these people are pretending that this is like 24. If you've ever watched 24, Jack Bauer, Kiefer Sutherland playing, you know, CTU counter-terrorist unit, some ticking time bomb that Iran's gonna get a bomb and then they're gonna get a bomb and then they're gonna bomb everybody. And it's like, bro, our own intelligence agencies unanimously agree. Like, there's a lot of stuff these folks don't agree on. Unanimously agree that Iran is not developing a nuclear weapon. And if they were, it would take them 3 years. So why is this important? This is the pretext that they're using for war. It's kind of insane. Like, a lot of people my age, I feel like, came of age politically, around my age cohort, came of age politically around the war in Iraq. And the reason why is because it was so obviously bullshit, the pretext that was used to bring us into that war. And they're running the same playbook, guys, except it's way more expedited and it's way shoddier. I would encourage you guys to go check out Breaking Points on YouTube. They did a dope segment today, Sagar and Crystal Ball, where they explained for people, like, because it's easy to forget, but like 9/11 happened in 2001 September. I think our war with the Iraq was like March of 2003 or something. I forget the exact. Sorry, but we went to war in 2003. I don't remember the exact date. Bottom line is these motherfuckers took 2 years just making shit up, but they like took 2 years to come up with an excuse for the invasion. You know, they had CIA cooking up bullshit intelligence, all kinds of terrible leaks to the New York Times, the Atlantic, like you name it. All of these liberal bastions of media, all of these motherfuckers were banging the drum beats of war. Every single one of them. They had Colin Powell go to the UN Council. Colin Powell being basically the most respected person in the American military, like the biggest celebrity, like the most decorated, most prestigious figure in American military. They used his cachet to go sell this war to the UN. Yellow cake, whatever in the New York Times. Like, you guys can look this up. Like, I'm talking, they did this shit for 2 years. It was all bullshit. Everybody knew it at the time, but they took 2 years to try to do this. These motherfuckers are trying to do this in a week. And I'm going to get to the New York Times. Trump basically said he's giving himself 2 weeks before he wants to start using bunker buster, ridiculously powerful bombs on the population of Iran. Make no mistake. They have nothing to back these claims. And then, so to make that even bad enough, the pretext is completely bullshit. These people aren't on the verge of having a nuclear weapon. They're not. They're not an imminent threat to any of us here in America. I'm talking about on the coast in LA and New York, and damn sure not Missouri and Kansas, guys. Not Iran has no, like, they cannot hit us. They don't have that militarily to threaten us directly. Even if they had one, they couldn't get us even if they had a nuclear weapon. Two, to use that nuclear weapon would guarantee the end of their nation and their people. I'm going to say that again. When you're watching the freaking news and they're pretending that these crazy Muslim death cult people, this theocracy, these weirdo theocratic people, which is so rich coming from the Israelis, who's basically saying our right to this land is in this Bible. Whatever. Ted Cruz going Tucker Carlson talk about his Bible commands him to support the state of Israel no matter what they do, which is like the most dubious claim I've ever heard in my life. Like, these people, what they want you to think about the Iranian regime, which again, let's get this out the way. Y'all know I'm atheist. Y'all know I don't fuck with none of this religious fundamentalism shit. I don't have some deep reserve of love for the Iranian regime. I don't. Like, I think they're repressive, regressive. I think the people of Iran would be much better off with a more secular type of leadership. I don't support the Iranian regime, but let's keep it 1,000. We drop bombs on this population of people. Let's say we even, and again, these people are too cowardice. They don't have the balls to go on CNN, MSNBC, in the pages of the New York Times, Washington Post, The Atlantic. These are the major publications where the elites congregate, to say, yo, we really just want regime change and to fuck up the country to make it a failed state. As much as I don't agree with the regime, that, by the way, came in because the dude that we installed, the Shah, was such a fucking disaster that the people like organically rose up against him and did a revolution on our guy who was so disgustingly repressive, horrible, death squads, you name it. This guy did it. Raping, pillaging, stealing wealth while also being an American puppet. Horrible. He was so horrible. The people we fucking forced on the Iranian people, they rose up against this guy organically, overthrew that government. And what came in instead was the only sort of powerful entity with legitimate popular support. Not that the whole entire population were down with the religious clerics, but they were the only ones after the revolution who could genuinely claim to have a constituency. So a power vacuum gets formed, and the only organized entity moves in to fill it. And that's how we end up with a religious, sort of fundamentalist leadership of that country. But make no mistake about it, the fucking Shah who they overthrew was horrific. Anyway, I digress. I say all of that to say I don't have a lot of love for the Iranian regime. I'm good off of hyper religiosity. That's not my bag. In fact, I'm against all of it in all of its forms, including the Israelis and their whole belief that there's some special people chosen by God who get to steal these people's land because of it. And everybody's just supposed to be happy about it because it's in some fucking book. Cool. I condemn all of that. Anyway, say what you want to say about the regime and its problems and its issues. The idea that we're going to go in, bomb the shit out of the place, upend their government so that a civil war can break out for all the different factions reaching for power. What do we think that's like? How is that better for the people who actually live in that country? Even if you hate that regime, how can that outcome be better than what's happening right now, which is relative stability? Even if, they gonna do all of this shit in the media. All the women, all the education, all the repression, we just love the women. We love the women of Iran. We want to liberate the women of Iran. Oh, we just love them. Even if you accept that, how can bombing the shit out of their country, making a bunch of people refugees, 100 million people in this country, they can basically walk to Europe, okay? Who's going to be handling those people's borders after we displace all of these people with a war of aggression? There is no imminent threat to anybody. Even the Israelis themselves say this is a preemptive strike. The Iranians weren't at their door with weapons ready to kill a bunch of Israelis. Like, this is like how? How can any of this shit be justified? And all they got for us is their whole thing is like, Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, which, by the way, look, in an ideal world, none of us would have nuclear weapons. Like, we wouldn't have nuclear weapons in any nation. Nobody would have that power to kill that many people with the push of a button in an ideal world. But this might be controversial to some people. I don't think it would be the end of the world if Iran had nuclear weapons. Case in point, I'm going to give you two examples. Gaddafi in Libya, he was developing his nuclear program. The Americans convinced him, back when we were boys with him, convinced him to like quit his nuclear program. Decade and a half later, we change our minds about liking this dude, overthrow his regime, topple it. This dude got sodomized with a broomstick in public before he was killed. North Korea, we also hate, have big problems with. They develop a nuclear weapon, which, by the way, can hit the West Coast where I live if we ever tried to fuck with them. And guess what we don't ever do to North Korea? Try to fuck with them. So when you see, like, if you're the Iranian government and you've seen the outcomes, you know what, like, even if you're not pursuing a nuclear weapon right now, why the hell would you open yourself up to that level of vulnerability to the fucking Americans and Israelis? Why? Oh, how can you justify that to your people after Trump and them do this rope-a-dope shit to you, pretend to be in peace talks with you, diplomacy, just so they could give the wink to the Israelis to kill a bunch of your freaking high military command, bomb the shit out of your country. So now I'm supposed to give myself over to you completely and just trust that you're never gonna try to fuck me again? Like on what? Like on what? On what planet? On what planet would anybody with a brain be like, yeah, let's do unconditional surrender to the Americans? In fact, in the real world, after what's transpired the last week, it's like, wait a second. We did a deal with Obama. These motherfuckers ripped it up. We come to the table again against our better judgment. These motherfuckers do the okey doke on us. A lot of Israelis to just decapitate our military command. And now they're saying, no, you need to trust. Like, who's showing themselves to be the trustworthy party here? Again, I don't have love for the Iranian regime. I don't bang with this hyper religiosity, but just look at the two parties. Who's worthy of trust here? The Obama deal allowed inspectors to come into Iran and be like, all right, this is all above board. They're pursuing domestic nuclear enrichment, like to get domestic nuclear power and energy to power their fucking country and people. All right, cool. Let's normalize this relationship and keep it pushing. But you know, the neocons, these people they've literally had a hard on for Iran for 50 years. They've been pissed about their boy, the Shah, getting kicked out for 50 years. They've been wanting to extract their pound of flesh from this regime, bro, because the Iranians had the audacity to rise up as a people against their installed puppet. Like, this is what we're talking about, people. And so you're going to see stupid shit in the New York Times where the New York Times is talking about, oh, yeah, the regime is not really that popular in there. Okay, the regime is not popular. You think a faction backed by the Israelis and the Americans after this past week is going to be more popular than the current regime right now? Like, on what planet? This idea that Israel bombs the shit out of Iran, it tells their people, rise up against us. One, how do you rise up against the freaking government as your house is being bombed to smithereens? Two, why am I rising up at the behest of the people who are bombing me and my kids and my family? Like, that's never happened. Look it up in history. That's never happened. Where we just go in and bomb a place to smithereens and the people be like, oh, we love America. Let's help them bomb us. And like, what the fuck are you talking about? It makes no sense. And another thing, you know, what I love is like, this is obvious. This would obviously be at the behest of the Israelis. Iran doesn't pose a threat to America. Let me say that again. They pose zero security threat to America. The Israelis have no interest in brokering a peace with the Iranians. Because to wipe Iran off the board as a regional power means what? That elevates Israel's influence and power that much more by no longer having a major player on the scene. So strategically, of course, it makes sense that they want this shit. Duh, it makes them stronger. While not using any of their own resources, they're already running out of interceptors for these pea shooter ass missiles that Iran is sending. It's been one fucking week. They can't sustain this long term. It's a population of 10 million people. They don't have the manpower to invade, occupy, overthrow the Iranian government on their own. Israel is a client state, bro. They exist at the behest of the United States of America. They can't stand on their own militarily. They can't go out, roll out the tanks, and just go invade Iran right now and win on their own. They don't manufacture their own weapons. They depend on our weapons reserves. They don't have the capability to just intercept every single Iranian bomb coming at them. They don't. Yet they start this shit, and then it's on us as America, our tax money, our soldiers, to go finish off what they started for them. It's not for you and me. They're going to America first means America dead. Like, when you talk about cap, when I tell you cap, with like cap, bro. The Iranians striking America with a nuclear weapon, guys, unprovoked, is the end of that nation. Destruction. This is not even like, I'm not a military. Like, go chat GPT this shit, y'all. Go chat GPT our nuclear capabilities. And the Iranians, somehow they're just so bloodthirsty and so thirsty to reach Allah as soon as possible. They want to end their country and civilization forever by preemptively attacking the Americans or the Israelis with a nuclear bomb. No, the reason to get a nuke is for deterrence, bro. That's the only time the Americans leave you the fuck alone. You know what we'd never do? Invade Russia. When all this time, Ukraine and Russia been beefing all of this shit. You ain't never heard nobody go on TV talking about, yo, let's invade Russia. Let's overthrow, let's bomb the hell out of Russia so that the Russian people will rise up and overthrow Vladimir Putin, who I'm told is the biggest devil in the history of devils by every single one of these media outlets, American elites, every single asshole in Congress. You've never heard that in your life. Let's bomb Russia. Let's invade them, overthrow them. Their people deserve freedom. Vladimir Putin's a dictator. Blah. Why do you think that is? Because they have nukes. Because they could fuck our shit up if it really came to that. Mutual destruction. They could inflict incredible damage on the American mainland. So we never directly fuck with them. Same with North Korea. They could push a button and hit California right now. So guess what? We don't fuck with them. So what message are you sending to the Iranians when they come in, good faith negotiations, rip it up Obama's deal, going with Trump, good faith. Y'all use it as a ruse to bomb the shit out of their buildings and their military infrastructure. What countries do America not like and never fuck with like this militarily? China, Russia, North Korea. Interesting. And so what behaviors are actually being incentivized here? It's crazy. It's nuts. Yes, theoretically, they put these polling out like, oh, do you think Iran should have a nuke? Every American, like, I think it's 70-something% of Americans like, nah, Iran shouldn't have a nuke. But that's not really the question. Like, that's a straw man. They don't have a nuke. They're not on the brink of one. And they're willing to make diplomacy work. Wouldn't that make sense? Not complete and utter. So why would I completely and utterly surrender to these crazy people? These people are maniacs. They're ghouls. Look at what they're doing. Why would I surrender to this? I'd rather just fight you. Surrender, like I'm supposed to just come out with my hands up so you can shoot me in my head? It's laughable, bro. It's utterly laughable. And as usual, as laughable as this is, you know who's even more laughable? The fucking Democratic Party. The fucking Democratic Party. They are so bought and paid for by AIPAC, bro. Like, this is so, I'm promising you, bro, if this actually happens, Trump is giving himself 2 weeks. whatever this is according to the New York Times, if we actually start doing this, where we bomb the shit out of Iran, so they're like, okay, now we have to bomb the shit out of y'all bases in the Gulf region. We gotta bomb the shit out of y'all American stuff. You guys is Navy, you guys is bases in the Middle East. Okay, they bombed us. Okay, we gotta send the troops in. All right, we do that. Disaster. Golden opportunity for people to because this is not going to end well. All of these people do, oh, this will make quick work of this. Oh, this it's not true, bro. 100 million people. You know how people are gonna rise up against this aggression? People are gonna be volunteering to fight this shit on some rally to the flag stuff. And again, my guy Ryan Grimm at The Intercept. You guys are gonna be shocked to learn this, but our heroes in the Democratic Party, pull this up for me, please. Pull this up for me, please. AIPAC demands Democrats stand with Israel on Iran. The pro-Israel lobby group has sent a flurry of communications to members of Congress, citing specific language for them to parrot in support of Israel's strikes on Iran. So if you thought Donald Trump's warmongering shit was horrible, and it's like, oh, thank God we have an opposition party in the Democrats. They're going to fight against this. They're going to be kicking and screaming. They're going to be on the Sunday shows. They're going to be in the New York Times writing op-eds. They're going to be on, you name it, podcasts. They're going to be fighting against, they're going to lead the beaten drum against this. Think again, folks. The American Israel Public Affairs Committee has been furiously urging House Democrats to release messages of steadfast support for Israel in its war with Iran. The Prospect and Dropsite News have learned, even as bipartisan lawmakers come together on a War Powers Act resolution to prevent U.S. troops or funds being used in yet another Middle East conflagration. One member relayed that a colleague had received literally 100 phone calls from members of AIPAC and its allied pressure groups. AIPAC wants House Democrat members to state explicitly that they stand with Israel in its actions against Iran aimed at destroying the Islamic Republic's nuclear capability, and add that Iran must never have a nuclear weapon. In addition, AIPAC has taken particular pains to denigrate the moderate pro-Israel group J Street, both in private conversations with members of Congress and in public, picking a fight aimed at blocking any Democrats from using J Street as cover to deviate from AIPAC's maximalist position. Quote, they're worried their members in Congress may start to shift toward J Street, and they're trying to head that off, said an aide to one Democrat. Quote, I did see that AIPAC took issue with my statement, said Representative Pramila Jayapal of Washington State. They were taking on J Street for endorsing me, which was ridiculous. End quote. To get a sense of how extreme AIPAC's demands are, note that J Street's own statement merely they're calling for diplomacy while still supporting Israel. Quote, we urge the Trump administration to meaningfully pursue a diplomatic resolution to this conflict as quickly as possible while making clear the U.S. will do what is necessary to defend Israel and U.S. troops from retaliation, end quote, said the statement. These people, oh, wait a second. Sorry. These people are freaking insane. It's just the most foaming at the mouth, warmongering insanity that we've seen. And the worst part is the Trump as some dove was always bullshit. I guess you could say he wasn't exactly like a neocon in the most extreme terms during his first term, but he was no dove, bro. Like, this dude was no peacenik. A lot of MAGA people had it in their head, oh, Trump is breaking with the national security establishment who's constantly getting into forever wars in the Middle East, blah, 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 all these entanglements, wasting our money, wasting resources, doing all this shit. Rip all that shit up. That was cap. That was bullshit, bro. That was bullshit. We on the brink of war with fucking Iran, bro. And this is the same guy. And what's crazy, bro? Like, And a lot of people on the left hate to admit this, but the things that attracted Trump to a lot of voters in both 2016 and the previous election was this idea that he was outside of the established order of Washington. When for him to get on a Republican debate stage and tell Jeb Bush to his face, bro, Iraq was a huge mistake. It was horrible. Your brother didn't keep us safe on 9/11, got us into trash wars. That was stupid. Can't believe we did that. Bro, he did that on that debate stage. Like, that just shocked people, bro. It bolstered his sort of credentials as this outsider, not part of the establishment in terms of his orientation. And obviously, everybody's so sick of the establishments of both parties. He became so attractive to people because of that, particularly that anti-war posture he took against Jeb Bush. Rip all that shit up right now. It's a joke. Anybody in your life talking about Trump he hates war. It's lies. He's been co-opted by the neocons. He works at their behest, and he himself is personally a warmonger. I'm tired of seeing this shit where it's like, oh, it's not Trump's fault. He's being misled by Bibi. He's being misled by the neocons in the cabinet. Man. Bro, he's a grown-ass man. He has the power to stop this. Tell the Israelis to shut the fuck up, bro. We're not going to war over this. Deal with it. We're going to make peace. We're going to make it so that, they know they can't fuck with you and do any preemptive attacks on y'all and move on, bro. We'll see. Anyway, guys, that's our show for today. Again, shouts to my guy, John Gervais on the 1s and 3s holding us down, man. We will see you guys next week. Peace out.